Welcome to Paul's Heart. I'm Paul, author of the book Paul's Heart, Life as a Dad and a 35-year cancer survivor, available on Amazon. You can also find me on YouTube on the channel at Paul's Heart, PaulsHeart. This is actually take two of this video that I wanted to record. Um, you'll probably see it in my feed, another video that had sound removed for violating community standards. I have no idea what I said that ended up with the volume being cut. Um, there, I really only talk about cancer, and there may be some words I guess you have to avoid. Um, I've never had it happen with any of the other videos that I've recorded. However, so I'm going to try and record this video a little differently, trying to be a little more aware of some of the words that I'm using. Um, but the reason for my video today is it's another one of those special anniversaries for me, and it's a bit more difficult of an anniversary for me in that, if you recall over prior videos, I've mentioned about the need for continuing surveillance when the oncologist releases you from their care, that you still should keep in touch with at least your primary care doctor to follow up, not necessarily for any kind of recurrence of any cancer, but for the possible development of any late term side effects, from your treatments that you received. Again, these are not guaranteed to occur, but there is a chance. That's why they give you the warning information, before you start those treatments. So, in any case, in the prior video, I did talk about the first 18 years of my survivorship. Once I completed my cancer treatments, um, like the average cancer patient, I didn't follow up. Nobody said anything to do that. So once I got released from my oncologist, I went about my merry way. And what had happened around April of 2008, I had developed a tightness in my chest, went from my shoulder over my left breast. And looking back, it had actually become quite annoying for a while, and I just wasn't paying attention to it. And my primary care doctor, who I'd known for decades, had ordered a special test called a nuclear stress test. I didn't know what she was looking for, and I don't know if she was looking for anything per se, but 36 hours later, I was on an operating table having an emergency double bypass. Now, here's where I want to be careful. I think I might have gotten in trouble. The condition was a blockage of the left anterior descending artery. Um, they have a very harsh nickname for this condition. Um, let's just say you end up having a heart attack that you don't survive. I'm going to try and explain it that way instead of using the actual nickname, which actually, gets the point across a lot better. Um, but I ended up having that surgery. Um, I did get to obviously go on with my life. I talked briefly in the muted video. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it there if they decide to turn the sound back on. Um, but the motivating factor that I had behind that recovery was my daughters, who were small children at the time, no idea what was going on. Um, when I left that morning to have that test, I just had said goodbye to them, and, that I loved them and I would see them after school. And, discovering what the doctors did, I never got that chance to see them before I had to have that surgery. And there was a likelihood that I would not survive. And that really had a huge impact on me. I was literally broken at that point. Um, I did get to see them finally. About 4 days later, they brought them in. My children were brought in to see me. I was still hooked up to some machines, still had some tubes coming out of me, but they were glad to see their dad, was still with them, and gonna get to do a lot more things with them now that he was going to, feel better. Um, I guess one of the things that I didn't put in the other video, I love my props. This is my heart pillow. Um, when you have open heart surgery, um, they do cut you open from the top of your breastbone down to the bottom. So when they put you back together, anytime you cough and sneeze, it's going to hurt. So what they like to do, and they do a lot better with the pillows now that they hand out. They're actually manufactured in mass quantity. This one was made by the ladies auxiliary at the hospital. But basically the idea, you put this pillow here and you grab it when you're sensing a sneeze or a cough coming on, and you squeeze it so that you basically hold your chest together, and that makes the impact of that sneeze or cough, less. um, you don't necessarily have to have had a cancer experience or gone through any kind of treatments like that to develop these cardiac issues. But the moral of the story is to pay attention to your body when you feel that tightness, in the left side of your chest, especially. Um, that you go to the ER is my point. Okay, let the doctors tell you that it's nothing, because if it ends up being something, you're going to be in the right place at the right time for them to do something about it right away. I have dealt with other fellow Hodgkin's survivors who were treated decades ago, like me, that were in that same situation. Um, and they ended up having that emergency heart bypass surgery, as well. So it's something to definitely pay attention to. There's a lot more to my story as far as my health and other late effect issues that I dealt with over the last 17 years now. It's been 17 years since I had that surgery. But, the good news is that I am here to still tell my story and, hopefully inspire, you to keep going, deal with the things that come your way. They can be done. The help is out there. When you need to talk, you reach out to somebody and, just ask the questions. So hopefully TikTok lets this video alone. I don't think I mentioned any words that I would go against the community standards or whatever, and hopefully they turn the other video around, because I think it was filled with a lot better, details, than just trying to avoid saying certain things. So until next time, this is Paul's Heart.